Blessings, alafia, and happy Sunday. It is me, your favorite scholar-priestess, Iya Funlayo, PhD, here to share a moment with you today. Blessings. Please hit those hearts, comment, share, and like as you come in so that our whole community can share this discussion with us. Hey, IG, thank you again for your patience as I was getting set up. Let me say now too to those watching on IG, they cut us off after an hour. So if the video ends, come on over to facebook.com/Ase Ire. Okay. Hey, Omi. Hey, Oshumpomile, my sisters. Good morning. Please share this. Please like this. Please hit those hearts. Let's get energy flowing. You know, I love the energy. Yes. Oh, I love that flood of hearts coming in. You know, it makes me feel good. I love it. Hey, Damaris, Alafia. Good morning. Good morning and alafia to everybody. Please, oh, look at that. It's 12:12. Hey, so I was about to say, excuse my tardiness, but we already, we on African time. But Facebook changed the interface and had me all messed up for a second, but we are good. We are happy. We are blessed. I am so joyous to see y'all this morning, this afternoon for the East Coast. For me, it's still bright and early, 9 a.m. I've been up with y'all since 7 a.m. We had such a great time with prayer and meditation. We did prayer and meditation for Babaluaiye, and I'm going to actually share a little bit of that with you as we share together today. Thank you so much for the love, for the hearts, for I see the shares and all of that. Please do share, please do like, please invite as many people as possible that you think would be interested in sharing this perspective with us today. I hope that it, really, I look forward to just sharing a bit of hope, sharing a different perspective from one that we might be inclined to think about, right? And to just help us tap into using our spiritual tools as well as understanding what a truly African perspective on these things is, right? Because we got it twisted, and it's not our fault we got it twisted, right? It's been twisted for us. Hey, Muffin Booby. Hey, I'm Annette. Omomi. Yes, right. It's been twisted for us, so I'm about to untwist it a little bit, right? So that we can understand how we are actually supposed to be not only seeing what's happening right now, but also how we should be conducting ourselves at this moment, who we should be calling on, what we should be paying attention to. And so I'm already excited. I can feel all of your energy. You know that I'm a empath. I just take in your energies. Enzele, Renee, Ife, good morning. I love to feel your energy. I had to, I've been doing a whole lot, of course, of extra cleaning and praying. If you saw my post on IG yesterday, these are the times to do more, right? This is not the time to do less. It's the time to do more cleaning, more praying, more sitting with the ancestors, more serving the shrines, more of everything that we normally do in order to strengthen ourselves, because that's what our spiritual systems are for. This is not icing on the cake, right? This is not decoration. This is tools that are meant to help us through these times, and they can if we let them. And as they say at AA, it works if you work it, right? So hit the hearts if you feel like we can work it together and we can just raise up this energy that needs to be raised up. And if you're ready to work it, if you're ready to let anxiety go, if you're ready to let fear go, if you're ready to really surrender to the moment, which is what I'm about to share, and how we can surrender to this moment so that we come out of it even more brilliant, even more focused, even more strengthened, even more than what we are right now. Allison, Iya Velma, hello, Tasha, hello, Boato, Rochelle, blessings. Yes, thank you, IG. I see all of y'all over there hitting them hearts. Oh, thank you, boo, Ife. I gotta keep it a little cute, especially because my eye wanted to act up, but I was like, can't stop, won't stop. You know what I'm saying? We keeps it moving. That's that Obatala. The body could be recrafted, but we keeps it moving, right? Baba wanted to visit me today. So, I like to start with us just taking a moment to connect with one another, to connect with ourselves. So, I invite you to gently close your eyes and just go within with me for just a moment. Take a breath in through your nose, let it out gently through your mouth once more. And once more. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. We give thanks and praise to Olodumare, to the ancestors, to all of the divine beings that walk with us, to the Orisha, the Nkisi, the Lua, the Abosum, the Fulta, all of the divine beings that walk with all of our peoples and all of our ancestors. We give thanks and we give praise right now. We are grateful. We are grateful that no matter what, life continues. We are grateful for the buds that are pushing through at this moment in time of spring. We are grateful for the laughter that we are sharing right now. We are grateful for the increased connection that many of us are experiencing despite being physically distanced from each other. We are grateful for this moment together. I just give thanks and I ask for my teachers and my ancestors to speak well through me so that I can bring a message to the people, to encourage, to uplift, to teach, to entertain, to delight, to just get us feeling beautiful, get us understanding where and who we are, and get us being better and better and better, getting our oris open. Touch your head, ori woo. May our oris open and expand to receive all that we are meant to receive in this moment. We give thanks. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for that moment of prayer. I'm just gonna, I like to jump right in, jump right in, jump right in. And so, as you know, I don't have to tell you, we're having a moment right now. We are having a moment. We are living Odu, as my Baba says. We are performing a bow that we didn't even know had been prescribed. Hello, somebody, right? We have had to give up a lot. We have had to give up events that we wanted to go to. We have had to give up going outside, or not going outside, but being in contact with each other, which we need, which is vital to us as human beings, right? Joanne, good morning. Hello. We've had to give up a lot. But Ifa says that sacrifice, that if one is not willing to endure the suffering and the sacrifice that would fill a basket, one cannot expect the blessings that can fill a cup. Say that again. Ejogbe says that if one is not willing to endure the suffering that can fill a basket, one cannot expect blessings that can fill a cup. And so Ifa says that, and I'm going to take a step back, but Spirit is moving me to share this at this moment, for us to understand, and talking about this moment in particular, we have to be willing to sacrifice. Ifa, Orisha, all of our African spiritual systems are about reciprocity and sacrifice. We must be willing to sacrifice for the greater good. And that can mean a lot of different things, right? It can mean a lot of different things. It can mean, we think about sacrifice and people want to always think about, what do they want to think about? Chickens and animals. No, 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 no. The biggest sacrifice, as I always say, if you know me and if you've been learning from me, is the sacrifice of our behavior and how we change in response to what's going on around us. So we are performing, make no mistake, this isn't a bowl, it's a sacrifice that we are performing, and we have to understand what exactly it is that we need to be doing in this moment in order to make the most of it, right? But let me take a step back, because a big part of the reason why I decided to share today is because I, of course, as a priestess, as a spiritual counselor, as somebody who takes pride and joy in serving the community, many members of the community have asked me, Iya, what does this mean? What is going on? Are we being punished? Is this like what's happening? And the short answer is no. I'm going to start there. That this idea of punishment um, really comes from the standpoint of the Christianity that many of us were raised with, right? Whereby the very idea of death, there's this idea that had we not committed this original sin, that we would live forever and death wouldn't be a thing. And this actually repeats in many stories that we have. There's a story, there are stories in Ifa about death coming to the world as well. There was a time that people, metaphorically lived forever. I choose to take much of this as metaphor. When we talk about human life on earth, it is bound by certain um, parameters, right? Our bodies can only do so much. We see that, right? It can only take so much. We can only move so far and so frequently before we have to sleep. We can only do so much before we have to eat. So we understand the mechanics, right, with which we live. We are infinite beings, right? So we do live forever. We know that our ancestors are still with us. We know that our divinities are still with us, right? So we do live forever. But in this instantiation of flesh, no, this will not last forever. Never has, never will, right? That just is what it is. That's true for us as human beings. It's true for every creature that walks the face of the planet. And they're not all being punished, right? It just is what it is. We see in terms of, so we're going to look a little bit at the cosmology, right? To understand the cosmology of the Yoruba Ifa-Orisa, how we even see the universe. We see the universe as a calabash, spherical, a calabash, right? With the spiritual realm and the earthly realm being connected together in one, constantly moving, constantly turning. And within that, we have a division of energies that keep that calabash turning. We call some of those energies, I call them, right? Some of us call those energies good and evil. I like to call those energies, and from an African perspective, and as I've done, I'm going to read you actually a little excerpt of my book that's going to be coming out so that you get a little bit of that. But I refer to these energies as constructive and destructive. Why? Rather than good and evil. Because from an African perspective, what's good is that which supports life. Life is the only thing that is important. I don't know, one of my favorite movies, The Fifth Element, right? Only life is important. That was one of the adages that came out of that movie because the world was going to be coming to an end, and the world had to be saved, and people were worried about all kind of different things, and ultimately it was said, look, nothing else matters but life. That is the most African perspective that there is, that life is what is important always. That's why we put so much emphasis on children, right? Ire owo, ire omo, ire aiku, the biggest three blessings. Resources, owo, children, and long life. Those are the three things. I don't even like to say money for owo because it's resources. It doesn't have to be money in the way that we think of it. But life is what is important to us as African people. So the things that we consider negative or evil are the things that are the antithesis of life. So let's start there. That is the first African spiritual perspective to share in this moment and in every moment, that life, us human beings, the animals, the trees, the plants, life is what is important. Life is what should be preserved always. Kosi ewe kosi orisha. If there are no plants, if the plant life is gone, our divinities, there's no orisha, right? There's no us. We can't breathe. We can't eat. So life always important. And so, but we know that life is sustained by other forces as well. Life is sustained by death. When we eat, Even if we are vegan and vegetarian, those plants that we are eating are dead. They have been killed. They have had their life force taken so that it can be transferred and transposed into life force within us, right? This is a cycle. This is a natural cycle. This is life, right? And so we have energies that, but we of course also understand that we don't want to just, lay down and let those energies eat us up. So we push them away. We beg them, really, because we know we can't control them. So that's, your second perspective. Number one, life important. Number two, we cannot control, no matter how big and bad we think we are, no one can block the path of water, right? This coastline decide to raise up and take all of this back, it's taken, right? And this is scary. Don't get me, this makes us nervous, it makes us anxious. This is one of the reasons that human beings have often sought to control these forces, right? Because the idea that anything can happen at any moment scares us. And so we seek, some people, when they feel that anxiety, they seek to control, right? And that's really the Western way. That's the way that we've been taught here. When I'm afraid of something, I try to control it, I try to wrangle it, right? Us as Africans, we say, no, 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 no. Bele, easy, be easy. When we're afraid of something, we seek to understand it. When we're afraid of something, we respect it because we understand that on some level, when we feel fear of something, it's often something that is worthy of respect. The very power of life and death, that's worthy of respect. So when we feel that fear of death or we feel that fear of our own mortality, instead of raising up, we bow down and say, Lord, Olodumare, ancestors, thank you, because I know how fragile this is. I know how precious life is and how it is not promised. The next breath is not promised to anybody. And so every breath, I say thank you. Every movement of food through, every bite of food in my mouth, every sight I see with my eyes, every sound I hear with my ears, every smell I take in, I say thank you. Ashe, I say thank you. This is why we recognize the benefits in everything around us. Sharifa, good morning. Yay, hello day. Hello, right? This is why we recognize the divine in everything because life is precious, because it's precarious, because it's not promised at all to anybody. Just take a breath. Feel the miracle in that breath of yours, right? Feel it. Really appreciate it. Feel your heartbeat. Put your hand on your chest right now. Feel that. That's you. That's the divine working in concert, coming together. That's a miracle. It is not something to be taken for granted at all, right? It's never to be taken for granted. And so, when we pray as Yoruba people, the first kosi, let there be no kosi iku, kosi arun, kosi epe, kosi. Let there be no death, let there be no sickness. We pray that way because we know that they are constant companions. They are constantly there. They are constantly possibilities. Our mortality is what makes our lives precious. And Africans understand that, which is why we have, when you look in the scholarship about African religions, one of the things they often talk about is how they say death obsessed, right? Oh, there's all this about death. Of course there is, because death is another rite of passage that takes you into the form and state of being that you're going to exist in for all of eternity. Of course it's important. Of course we would pay attention to it, right? The ancestors are our link to the past. They are the ones who did everything that they needed to do in order for us to live today. Of course they're important, right? But these are some of the things that were used to denigrate our systems. These are some of the things that we used to say that we were unsophisticated and all of these other things that we already know are erroneous. I don't even need to address that. But the point being that we understand these things. Our African spiritual systems understand these things, and we place emphasis on these things, on dying well, right? When the time comes, not if, but when, because we accept that reality. We talk about the importance of continuing on and paying attention to our ancestors, making sure that we keep that line and cycle of life going, right? We pay attention also to the unborn, right? We make a bowl, we make sacrifice, we do things for those in the spiritual realm who have not gotten here yet, right? Respect the entire life cycle as Africans. And while it's scary to think about, while we don't like to think about our own mortality and we often, push it away, that is life. And that is what makes us, that's what makes it so precious. And that's what makes it imperative that we live it the best way that we can, that we walk the path with coolness, with integrity, with love, with joy. Ayo, that comes in my name. Funlayo means she brings joy. Joy is another part of what we are supposed to be doing here, right? Because we understand that earth is the marketplace, right? Ayeloja, orun lai lile, right? Ile ni orun, excuse me. So the earth is the marketplace. Home is in the spiritual realm. We understand that, right? So from that perspective, like the very first thing that we are meant to be doing and meant to understand from this moment, it's not anything about punishment or anything like that. It's the respect for life itself. Take a moment, right? Appreciate, even if it happened in a way that we didn't expect, even if, I know incomes have been affected and all of that, and I don't take any of that lightly because that affects our ability to get resources to care for ourselves. Understand that time is the most precious resource that we have and the only one that we can never get back. And it's the one, unfortunately, that we squander the most, right? Sitting there binge watching other people living their lives instead of going out living lives. Hello, somebody. And I'm just talking about it. I'm keeping it, that's another African thing. We tells it like Satia is, you know what I'm saying? So we squander our time. We say we don't have time, but we actually squander it in so many ways. We don't do the things that our heart and spirit actually tells us we need to do with our time because we have been convinced that money and all these other things are the most precious resource. They are not. They are not. So let me read just a little bit. This is actually gonna be in my book, OB, Depth Divination and the Divine Feminine, being revised right now, prayerfully to be out by next year. Thank you to those of you. Yo, listen, everybody who has asked me about the book, who has encouraged me, who's like, okay, are we waiting for the book? I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Please keep doing that. So this is about the cosmos and how it's seen, thinking about those energies that I just mentioned, the ajogun, the spirits of construction and the spirits of destruction. And so the ajogun are the spirits of destruction. So I'm going to read a little bit about what we call the elastic Ifa-Orisa cosmos. And the book is about Obi, so I'm going to reference Obi a little bit in here. To appreciate Obi's place within the Ifa-Orisa world sense, it is necessary to first understand certain aspects of Ifa-Orisa cosmology. The Yoruba describe a spherical universe, which they liken to the shape of a calabash, split into vertical halves. Uh-oh, am I missing a page here? Lord, of course. All right, that's okay. With the constructive energies on with 400 plus one, so that's infinite, constructive energies on the right, and 200 plus one, destructive energies on the left. Okay. Drawing on Yoruba sacred narratives, Wande Abimbala describes the Ifa-Orisa cosmos as a, quote, crowded and elastic mythical alphabet. The cosmos is described as crowded because of the multitude of spiritual beings which are thought to inhabit it, and as elastic because the number of beings is ever changing and can never truly be known. These spiritual beings include the Egun, ancestors, Irumole, primordial divinities, Orisha, divinized human beings, and the ajogun, destructive forces, with the Egun, Irumole, and Orisha being the primary foci of worship. Oft described as divinities or forces of nature, the Orisha are this and much more, at once tangible entities and intangible ideological constructs around which life is organized. They are, to use Paget Henry's words, both eminent and transcendent, standing simultaneously within and without the universe and in the milieu of time and space. While each Orisha inhabits specific domains, they also exist as philosophical archetypes that articulate with one another through mythical interaction. The above image is a cosmogram or visual representation of the Ifa-Orisa cosmos, and I will share this. This is actually adapted. I slightly changed it, but I'll share it because I don't think you can read it on the screen. But it's adapted from, if you have the book Yoruba Culture, A Philosophical Account by Kola Obimbala. It's shout out to him. How you doing? Abora Boye Baba. It's adapted from his book. And the main thing that I did in my adaptation is that, so on the right hand side, what it looks like is a circle with the crossroads in the middle, slightly raised. And on the right side, we have the Orisha, we have the Egun, our ancestors, we have people, we have nature, animals, and Ori. These are all considered constructive forces, right? We are considered constructive forces. On the left side, we have the ajogun, which are and they are the destructive forces, the anti-life forces that we know we must coexist with. This is the thing. We know that these forces must be there in order for life to happen. And so we placate them, we push them away, but we know that we can never fully eliminate them. And so the warlords of the Ajogun are Iku, which is death, Arum, which is disease, Ofo, which is loss, Egba, which is paralysis, Orang, which is trouble, Epe, which is curse, Ewan, imprisonment, and Eshe, all other afflictions. And the point of this is to understand that no matter what, the cosmos is made of these constructive and destructive forces. They coexist and they have to constantly be balanced in order for us to be able to live, in order for life to be able to go on. And so, how do we balance them? Well, one of the things, as I will talk about in the book, is that we use obi. That's one of the biggest things that we use the kola nut for. Well, this is one of the biggest reasons why we make divination and we offer kola nut to the Orisha and to the divinities. Is obi ni be iku, obi ni be arum, obi ni be nkankamburukulaye. It is obi that can beg death. It is obi that can beg sickness. It is obi that can push away all negative things. And so the kola nut, one of the primary functions of the kola nut, of kola nut divination, and as well of eating and ingesting the kola nut because it's good for the body, is to push away death and sickness. And this is one of the things that Obi is especially known to do. We also, of course, make prayer and supplication to the earth, to our divinities, to the ancestors. We remain humble. We remain in our prayer spaces. We remain in our spaces of humility and respect for all of these divine forces. And so, one simple thing that I will advise everyone to do as a prayer, because, and I'm going to get into this in a moment, we're going to talk about specific divinities who may be connected with all of this. And if you were with me for prayer and meditation this morning, you already know the answer. One thing I'm going to advise us all to do is to take some cool water and to pour it on the ground and just pray for a cooling of the earth, to pray for a cooling of, for a stop to the disease that is flowing around, to pray for healing for those who are already afflicted, but the earth itself, the earth itself, the earth itself. And I'm going to speak about that in a moment. Very, very important to pay homage right now, especially to the earth herself, water on the earth, as well to pay attention to our Ori. Touch your head right now. Touch it. Go on ahead. Lay that hand across your forehead. And as a matter, we're going to take our other hand and we're going to grasp the back of our neck. And we're going to take it through. Ori, yeah, Ori mi o, Ori ba mi re o, Ori ba mi je o, Ori, yeah, Ori mi o, Ori ba mi je o, Ori ba mi re o. We call on each and every Ori that is being touched right now to usher in peace, to usher in calm, to usher in coolness, to usher in opening to our blessings, closing to those things that we should close to, accept only those things that are meant for us, Ori, accept calm, peace, coolness, accept abundance, accept goodness. We reject right now anxiety, we reject fear and worry, we reject anger, we reject any of the negative feelings that may be welling up inside of us right now. We reject them, or we ask for coolness and calmness. We know that whatever it is that we want, we must inquire of our Ori. And so we give thanks to Ori right now. We give thanks to Ori right now. We pray for coolness. Ashe, Ori Bami Re, Ori Bami She. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Do Ibaishu. Whew. Ashe. Ashe. Keep that Ori aligned. Keep that Ori aligned. That is very, very important right now. The earth, Ori, very important. The energy of the father of the earth, Babaluaiye. His name has been in the air a lot recently. We paid homage to him this morning. He is very misunderstood, very, very misunderstood. And so we're going to talk about him a little bit right now as one of the divinities who is being placated, one of the divinities who um, brings forth this idea of pulling your coattail, if you will, right? Oftentimes, let's start with the fact that when we think about, first, let's go back. First of all, Babaluaiye is often erroneously called the god of smallpox, right? Which is a gross oversimplification, as has been done with many of our divinities, because folks, we want to boil it down to one word, and nothing can be boiled down to just one word. So, we hear, oh, Babaluaiye is the lord of smallpox, and Shango is lightning, and Oya is the wind, and Oshun is love. Yes and no, right? Those are pieces of what they represent. They are, as I just read to you, archetypes as well, right? Of various energies that exist. So for Babaluaiye, he is one of the energies of the earth itself. And remember, let's not be pompous, humans. Remember, we only been here for a little minute, like that long in the course of the history of the universe and the world. The bacteria, the viruses, all of that stuff, we came up in their house, right? They were here first. And so Babaluaiye is one of the energies that represents that oldest and most ancient energy of the earth, which includes diseases, right? Which includes diseases. And oftentimes those come up amongst us when we are either mishandling our food and water, right? We see a lot of diseases maybe born from eating certain foods. The wind carries certain diseases, and so Babaluaiye and Oya are connected with one another. Um, we see diseases as well come through insects, so they're also associated with Babaluaiye. Grains are associated with Babalu, and that is they are one of the items that we use to clean and to offer to Babaluaiye. But one of the things to understand is that the biggest thing that Babalu represents is victory over these afflictions, right? Is the ability to heal, is the understanding that no matter what happens, no matter what goes on in life, no matter how dire things may seem, life does go on and it is worth going on. It is worth living. It is worth continuing, right? He comes through to remind us of what is precious. Sometimes we don't, we take things for granted. We do. We take a lot for granted. It's like the saying when people say, oh, people can find time when folks die to go to their funerals, but they can't find time to go visit them while they're alive. Hello, somebody, right? It's the truth. Somebody pass away, we dropping everything. Oh, I gotta get there, right? To pay those last respects. But at that point, that's more for the living than anything, right? But if that same person said, come visit me, we're not, and they good and they healthy and they just want to have a good time with us and connect with us, we're not quite as quick always, right? So it's those types of things, understanding the preciousness of life. And that is what the afflictions that Babaluaiye is associated with are meant to do. They are meant to help us understand. It's like my eye right now. Most of us don't. How much thought do you give to your left eye? I'm gonna tell you, probably none, right? As a general thing. Oh, but you don't just sit there thinking about your left eye. But guess who's thinking about their left eye a lot right now? Me, right? Because it's been afflicted. This happened because I'm talking about this today, right? But yeah, we often don't think about things or appreciate them until there's a problem. All right. So that is a part of Babalu's energy, not a punishment, right? I really don't like that word. And I don't like the implication that, the idea of fear and all of that idea that we've been, that Christianity has kind of pushed into us, that death is because of sin, and that if it's because you're bad and it's because of sin and you no, but it's meant to remind us. It's meant to say, hey, you're not paying attention, right? You're not paying attention to your family. Hey, you're turning your kids over to somebody else 10 hours a day and barely spending any time with them whatsoever. Hey, you're dedicating your whole life to slaving away in this place that does nothing for you other than give you money that you've been taught to think is everything, but it really isn't, right? So all of these things, this is all the stuff that is being raised up, and this is all of what that energy is meant to bring up for us, to make us stop, to make us recognize, to make us think, right? I will tell you that two readings of the year that happened this year actually foresaw some of this. So the reading of the year that came out of, and if you haven't watched the other, I have a video about the reading of the year, what that means, what readings of the year are, what they, all of that, and a little bit about these that I'm about to reference. The reading of the year that was done in June in Ile-Ife came with Otura Meiji, and one of the big refrains out of that is to not succumb to rumors and not to let anxiety and those types of energies run amok among us, not to listen to fake news, right? Not to become alarmed, not to become crazy with the news and things that go on around us. it's foretold that there would be rumors of things aside from what's actually happening. As you know, of course, because of social media and because of all these other things, there's a whole lot more rumors, conspiracy theories, all of these kinds of things going around. And so Turameji reminds us that we should not succumb to these, that we should keep our heads even, that we should keep our be careful of what we say, right? Otura Meiji is connected to both walking and talking. So be careful of the things that we say. Don't pass on information if we're not sure about it, right? Think about if it's what is the thing that you think about before you say something? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it, it true, right? First, is it true? Check your sources, especially right now as we're sharing information. This is one of the things that Otura Meiji reminds us to do is always check the sources of information before we share it, please, so that we do not incite alarm amongst people, because that is one of the biggest dangers, even more than the illness itself. One of the biggest dangers is going to be people really getting stressed and anxiety and economic issues and these types of things. And so we don't need that exacerbated by the sharing of information that has not been vetted. So just, make that, if we're talking about, and that's a spiritual practice. Remember, in the Yoruba concept, if I didn't hear it directly from the individual, I didn't hear it. It didn't, I have to say I heard, not I know, or, you know, so witnessing and the sources of information is very, very important to us as Africans. We only believe things from the horse's mouth directly, right? So we have to be very, very careful. At the same time, be smart and prepare. So if there are things that to be, it doesn't mean bury our heads in the sand and act like nothing's happening. Something's happening. And so we prepare ourselves, right? Our brother Ade, shout out to him, shared some proverbs yesterday about preparation. And it says, there's an Akan proverb that he shared that says, preparation knows no fear, right? So when we are prepared for things, we don't have to be afraid. When we know how to live, we don't have to be afraid. But here's the thing, and here's one of the other things that comes from the other reading that my Baba, shout out to Baba Ifa did for our spiritual family and Ile and the Manyansa family, shout out to them. We had Ogbe Otura, Ogbe Alara. And one of the things that Ogbe Alara talks deeply about is honoring and following the ways of our ancestors. Honoring and following the ways of our ancestors. And now is the time when I'm going to pick on a couple of you, because some of us think, and I'm going to just keep it all the way live as I do, some of us think that putting on this gele and these elekes and maybe even bowing down a little bit to our elders and maybe even speaking a little Ede Yoruba. Eka Roma, hey, I'm so African. I'm doing my ancestors' work. Mm-mm. You know what the ancestors did? They fed themselves. They clothed themselves. They grew their food. They healed themselves, right? That is the work of the ancestors that we are being called on to do. Those are the ways that we are being called to return to. They knew their neighbors. They taught their children. They did all of those things, right? That Those are the ways of the ancestors that we are being called to. This African spirituality is not just about spirituality, right? It is about a return. And of course, we know we're not going to completely strip ourselves of all of modernity. We're talking over internet right now. But it is a return to the ways of our ancestors, which includes how they lived, right? They were the original green, sustainable. They come on, stop it. We had gourds. We was drinking out gourds in these streets. We wasn't drinking out no plastic bottles. You know what I'm saying? Everything was reduced, reused, and recycled. And guess what? If you go to the continent today, you will see things are still reduced, reused, and recycled, right? We are not respecting the very planet that our divinities inhabit. We are not respecting the water that we drink. We are not respecting the air that we breathe. We are not respecting the children who are returned ancestors coming through us. We are not respecting the crafts. We are not respecting what it actually takes to make life function. And that's why we're feeling so anxious, because we know that ultimately, at this moment, for most of us, me included on many levels, someone else holds the key to our survival and existence. Whether it be the people who deliver the food to the grocery stores, right? The folks who deliver the clothes and the mail service. We talk about all this delivery, right? The mail, the internet, all of these different things, right? We have given our power over to these things too much. And many of us don't even actually know what it takes to sustain life. Many of our children don't know that a hamburger is a cow. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know where their food comes from. They don't know that that corn in a can or in a bag in the freezer came from a plant that came out the ground, right? They don't know that something has to die in order to sustain them. They don't know that cotton has to be picked and then spun into thread and then made into cloth and then sewn together to make clothes, right? Many of us do not know what it actually takes to sustain life. We have moved so far away. And this is one of the things that we are being called on to recognize right now, that we have to know how to live. This is the most African thing we can do, is know how to live, sustain one another, trust one another, build collectives, get together with your friends who do things and figure out how we can sustain one another. Offer vegetables from your garden. If you do homeschool, offer your people to homeschool their kids. Because I'm gonna just talk, I gotta talk about the school thing for a minute. I mean, and I don't have children yet. And one of the reasons I don't have children yet on some level is that for me, I am a follower of Brother Malcolm. I'm a follower of our radicals who say just the we, as long as we are sending our children to be educated by people who do not have our best interest at heart, or their best interest, or half the time even like them and want them there or want them to succeed, they will never reflect what we want them to reflect. That's why we see so many people now, even people who have been in the community for a long time, whose children are not a part of this, right? Whose children have completely gone all the way back to doing whatever else, right? We see our children, this is not working. It's not working because it's not meant to work. And so, one of the things, again, and I'm talking, this is all tied into African spirituality, because our spirituality is holistic. We don't put spirituality over here and life over here and education over here and this over here. No, everything is a part of our spirituality. Learning Ifa, learning ritual, that was children's school. Learning how to cook from their parents, learning how to sew, learning how to do the things that sustain life. Those were the schools. That's what people learn to do, things that actually sustain their life, right? And so this is one of the things that we are being called on to recognize in this moment. We are each being called on to say, God forbid everything that as we know it was no longer as it is. What do I have that can contribute to the sustenance of life directly? Not have to go to Amazon, to the store, to this, to this. Some of us can't even cook from scratch. If it ain't pre-prepared and able to be just heated up, you know what I'm saying? So something that small. If we did have food that wasn't already ready, you know what I'm saying? And so I say this to say, this is the African perspective that I want to share. And for us to really use this moment to think about how we're going to be different when it's over, because it will be over. Don't, it may not, it doesn't feel like it right now. I know, believe me, it doesn't feel like it right now, but it will. And so, as my brother, shout out to Oludare, said yesterday, we don't want to get caught out there like, oh, everything is coming to a close and then the world's ending and then tomorrow it's still here. And we like, oh, oh, it's still here and we ain't prepared. We ain't even do nothing to try to, make sure we going to be good. Please do something to make sure you're going to be good. Please learn a skill, learn an ancestral skill, learn something to contribute. Get your communities together, right? That's one thing that we're being called on to do. Old school, have a phone tree ready if in case that's needed. Let's not rely on the internet only, right? Think about I mean, we really have to think about these things. So this is the type of ancestral wisdom that we're being called on with right now. IG, you guys are going to get cut off in about 45 seconds. You can come on over to Facebook. I'm going to continue for a little bit longer. Facebook.com/Ase Ire. Thank you so much for joining me as always. This is the wisdom. This is the ancestral wisdom that we are being called on. Baba Nathaniel, blessings to you. Omo Oshun. I know he knows how to dye cloth, how to sew, right? So we all have to have, regardless of whatever else we do, we all have to have at least one ancestral skill. The ancestors had skills. Make no mistake. Make no mistake, this is why they were targeted and sought out, right? Not because they were less than, not because of any of that nonsense that we've been fed, but because they had skills. They knew how to grow rice. They knew how to make clothes. They knew how to farm. They knew how to build. My great 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 grandfather built houses that are still standing in Brunswick, Georgia today, Ibaye, to my ancestor Joseph Wood, Ibaye, right? Our ancestors had skills. Speaking of skills, one of the things that Obatala talks about as well is that men, in particular, I'm talking to y'all, brothers, the men are being called on to do what men do. So men, this is particularly for you important to, for all of us, right? But women have been kind of more inclined, especially to do the crafting. And, most of us, if I look at Charlene, she make candles. Almost any I look at on this, they make something. Tasha, she makes some, women, we do that. But men, a lot of you all have lost that ancestral connection to your ancestral fathers who did what? They built, they preserve, they protect, they construct, right? So that is what you are supposed to be doing. That is a part of your job, is to think about constructing, protecting, feeding the family, growing, right? I'm so grateful, grateful, grateful to, Olodumare for sending me a wonderful Omo sign, Omo Ogun. Got food growing, got herbs growing, always bringing me some kind of nasty bitter tea to sip, and I love him for it, right? He be keeping me right, keeping me healthy. He's the one bringing my hot compress for my eye, like, just right. So brothers, the ancestors, again, it's not all about being big baba this and big baba that and wearing this and having people bow down to you. Being a man in the African sense means being able to produce something, being able to protect your family, being able to build something, supporting and protecting the feminine principle as it does what it does, which is weave and keep the culture and do all the things that we do. We need that protection. We need that masculine principle. So don't ever think it's not important. Don't ever think it's not important. We need that. We need that. And we're being called for it. Obealara also tells us that this is work that we have to do, right? There's a way in which our ancestors, they've been calling. Don't make a mistake. We are on earth together right now for a reason, you and me. You, Anwar, Janet, Nandi, Stephen. We are together right now on earth for a reason. The ancestors have called on us to do this work. They have called on us. You know how much it took? We think we're facing something right now because We got to stay in the house for a little bit. Let's come on. Think about what our ancestors endured. Think, feel it for a moment, right? And they wanted nothing but to live so that we can live now. They passed it on to us. They made sure that they had those odus and that medicine embedded in their bodies and their cells so that when they were ripped from their land and brought to another land, they could say, okay, here's the medicine. The first thing, as I talk about all the time, the sacred stories from the odus, the sacred stories, the word for story in Yoruba is itan, but in the diaspora, those stories are called pataki. Pataki in Yoruba means important, right? So I will never say that that's a wrong way to call the stories. You know, people get so into this right and wrong, and you're doing this right and you're doing this. We got to stop that too, right? Community, that's ancestral wisdom and knowledge. The word pataki means important. So that means that when our ancestors got here and they were passing these stories along to their children, what they were telling them is this is important. This is important. This is important. This is important. It's so important that you need to remember it generation after generation after generation so that the ones who are on earth in 2020, when things are happening and it's time for the rise up to happen, they will have that knowledge. We wouldn't have it if they hadn't prepared themselves that way. We wouldn't have the knowledge if they hadn't prepared themselves that way, right? That being prepared, embodying knowledge, right? While you home right now, some of y'all go ahead and get my ebook, get that MO JUBA popping, right? By the time this is all said and done, you should be omi tutu ashe tutu ona tutu ile tutu tutu laro ye tutu bobo ego You should be hitting it like bars. What? Give money. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Embody this. Embody this. Sharifa said, understanding that this relation with earth, planting, self-sustainability is a spiritual practice. Hello, somebody. Yes, planting, sustaining our lives is a spiritual practice. It is a part of our spiritual practice, learning about our ancestors, part of our spiritual practice. They get so, give me an orisha and who's my orisha? And come on, leave your orisha alone for a minute. Come on and put a seed in the ground, touch your ori, pray over that, talk to Big Mama and them, and then maybe we can get to orisha. Okay, after all of that, all of that, all of that. And not just once, but again and again and again and again, because that's what sustains us, right? Ifa Bemi said, loving it. I'm glad, sis. You know how I do, how I get into it. Because y'all, I love us. I love us. I love us. And this is, I've always been, the ancestors called me from young. I've always been that one, like, I want to know how to do everything. I want to know how to dissect animals. I can slaughter, I can butcher. Like, listen, we eating. If we not doing nothing else, we eating. You with me? We eating. We got a break for the forest. We eating. I know how to build a fire, how to keep fire, how to make sure that the coals burn down and they don't go out. How to, come on. You know what I'm saying? Don't think the book knowledge, all of that's cute. I like to read and all of that. Harvard and all of that. It's cute. It's cute. But I'm about knowing how to sustain my life. That is what's important to me. So a lot of them books that I was reading was about how to do that. And so that's what we're being called on to do right now. So as we binge watch, as we do things, as we're inside, a part of what we binge watching is how to sustain ourselves, right? How to grow, how to filter water, how to do these simple things that it's not, we may be called on to do. Something big is shifting. And instead of looking at it from a fearful place, again, our ancestors are inviting us to look at it from a place of opportunity to really return to some ways that better respect them, to return to some ways that better respect the earth. We can't keep going like this. We can't keep going with all the disposable one use this and we can't. We cannot. We can't keep going with the pollution, the level that we are producing it. We cannot. We can't. We simply cannot. So again, when we think about Babaluaiye, when we think about this energy of so-called affliction, what those energies are meant to do is to stir up something big, to get our attention, to rebalance the earth, to say, listen, y'all are living out of balance. So sorry. The capitalism completely out of balance. Y'all are consuming more than your body needs. You're making yourself sick. You're consuming more stuff than you need, and then it becomes garbage. You're making the earth sick. Chill for a minute. Right? That's a part of what is coming through in this moment. And so we give thanks and praise. And the biggest thing that we understand is that this is life. And this is why life is precious. Right? It's not a punishment. It's not because we were bad. It's not, not that there aren't bad people, but this is something that is happening to teach. And it's something that has happened over and over and over again throughout history and throughout the history of humanity, right? Samantha says, our Egungun gave us the blueprint to survive. They went before us and showed us the way. All praises. Ashe, 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 Ashe. Margarine said, ATRs are really feeling the ritual practice, catharsis shaped hole in life. Oh, give thanks. Give thanks. Yes, we're supposed to be doing these rituals. We are supposed to be, ritual. That is a part of what sustains us. And so tonight, I'm going to encourage you to be I look forward to. I'm going to encourage you to say a prayer tonight. Sit with a glass of water and a candle, dress in white, and pray. Just pray. That's the power. The prayers of the righteous availeth much, as they say. Yes. So pray. Put your true energy out. Pray for you to gain what you're supposed to gain from this, regardless of anything else, right? Don't absorb an energy that may not be for you, because there are people who are going to come out of this. Make no mistake, there's some people that's going to come out of this better than ever been before, right? It's going to help them to realize that they didn't really want that job, and they didn't really want to be away from their kids all day, and they didn't really want to live the way they've been living, that they felt they had to live and they were forced to live. But now they see that there's another way, right? A whole lot of people are going to feel like that, and that's part of what we are being called on to see in this moment. So sit, pray, meditate, really open your ori to the blessing, to the blessing, to the blessing that is meant to come from this moment, and really think about your ancestors in that real way. Think about the ancestral skills and gifts that you're aware of in your family, right? Think about the things that your ancestors did and help sustain life, and that you can now bring back through you, because that is a part of spiritual practice. Knowing the names of your ancestors, being able to call on them, that is a part of the practice. That is a part of the practice. And understanding, again, that every day when we pray, Kosiku, Kosiarum. We know they are constant companions. We can never escape them, but we push them away. And so right now, I call on all of the energies of the universe to push away death, to push away sickness, to push away pain, to push away curses, to push away paralysis, to push away. Kosil, Kosil, Kosil. I call on Babaluaiye to bring Ire. Babaye, Baba Soroso. Babaye, Baba Soroso. Babaluaiye, Afomo de Baba Sire, Sire. Go ahead and snap over your head like this. Babaye, Baba Soroso. Babaye, Baba Soroso. Babaluaiye, Afomo de Baba Go ahead and brush your shoulders off. Remember, that's ancestral right there. You know, we be bringing that knowledge back. Brush yourself. We are brushing away fear. We are brushing away anxiety. We are brushing away any negative feelings we are having. We are ushering in erase, erase, erase. Babaluaiye, Sire, bring us erase. Babae, Baba Zoroso. Baba Baba Zorozo, Baba Luaye, Aya Omode, Baba Zire Zire, Baba Baba Zorozo, Baba Baba Zorozo. Babaluaiye yavo mode baba zire zire. Ashe o ashe. Iba iba ashe o iba babaluaiye. We give thanks and praise. We pray for healing. We pray for all of us to understand everything that we are supposed to be gaining from this moment. We reject anxiety. We call on our great mother, Oya, as well, to help us accept change. Change is the only constant in the universe. So we call on Yansa to help us to accept the things that are changing around us right now and to weather the storm. I know that this is a difficult moment for many of us for various reasons. And so we just call on our mother right now. Yansae, Iba Iba Yansae, oh, Iba Iba Oluwami. Elegua, Iba, Iba, Yanza, Iba, Iba, Oyanza mabukelele, oyanza mabukelele, oyanza mabukelele, oyanza mabukelele. Salam aleikum, aleikum salam. Oyanza mabukelele, oyanza mabukelele, oyanza mabukelele, oyanza mabukelele. Salam aleikum, aleikum zala, oyanza mabukelele. Oya deo, oya, epa, oya o. Whew. Give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise. We call on Eshu because look how the roads are open wide right now. So we pray for Ire to flow through as these roads are open wide. We call on as he's clearing the roads. We call on Eshu as these roads are open. We call on him to never cut our amount of goodness. Barazuayo. Como yara guana mama kena. Barazuayo. Como yara guana mama kena. Barazuayo. Eshuodara. Omonyana guana mama kenaira. Eshu Mashemio, Eshu Dara, Eshu Odara. These roads are wide open. Bring our Ire. Ogunde arere ire bobo Ogun wa nílé, ogun wa lọ́nà, ire gbogbo lògùn ayé. Ogun dé arére, ire gbogbo lògùn wa. Ogun wa nílé, ogun wa lọ́nà, ire gbogbo lògùn ayé. Yes. Woo! Roads are being opened, they are being cleared. Understand all of our divinities are activated right now. We call on the energy of our great mother, Yemoja. We call on her to comfort us and to nurture us. We call on her right now. Oh, mio. Oh, mio. We call on you. Oh, mio. We call on Olokun Olagba, Olokun Olagba, Olokun Olagba, Olokun Olagba. We call on the deep knowledge from within us. We call on the deep comfort. We call on the wealth of understanding, the touching of things that we have never had touched within us before. We call on that. And of course, we call on my Baba Obatala, the Father, the one who comforts us, who wraps us in his cloth, who wraps our ori in white cloth. The children of Obatala never fear death. The children of Obatala know that we cycle through our energies. We know how to get to the mountaintop. We pray always for that peace and that goodness. Eruaye mi boseyo, Eruaye mi baba, Eruaye mi boseyo, Eruaye mi baba. Obatala ta wini sekure Babaluaiye serere baba serere Obatala sing serere baba serere Obatala serere aye serere baba serere Obatala serere baba elere Obatanye Elerifa wazibasao ejiborere wabawo eruaye yawaloro lesiokan lesiokan yawaloro lesiokan eruaye mi boseo eruaye mi baba yes eruaye mi boseo eruaye mi baba Obatala wini sekure Babaluaiye Obatala Aye Serere Baba Serere Obatala Epa Orisha Orisha Epa. Thanks and praise. Yes, 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 yes. Whew. We just call on all of our divinities right now. We call on all of our divinities. Call on each of you. Call on all of you. We give thanks and praise in this moment. We give thanks and praise to our ancestors. Baba, oh, hey, hey, yeah, 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 oh. Baba, oh, hey, hey, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, oh. Give thanks and praise. Aumba wa ori, aumba wa ori, awa usun, awa oma, leri oma, lege awu, awe, Mverezoro, mverezoro, la la la, mverezoro, 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 la la la, mverezoro. Ṣé o ṣe ibà bàbà ibà yeye àdúpẹ́ o àdúpẹ́ wọlé wá egúngún wọlé wá coming to the house. Yes, 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 yes. Whew. Thanks and praise. Thanks and praise. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for your energy, for being here with me today, for taking this little journey into our African spiritual perspective. And so the biggest, the most important perspective is that life goes on. Life goes on. There is still much to be grateful for. There's still much to praise. There's still much to learn. There's still much to do. We pray that Eshu will never cut our mat of goodness. We pray that we will enjoy Ire Owo, Ire Omo, and Ire Aiku, long life, children, and resources. We pray for Oire, Ilera, Ati Alafia, for our good heads. We pray for our health, and we pray for our peace. And we know that we have just claimed them together. We have just raised the frequency and the vibration. And so we give so much thanks and praise. Yalode Fini, blessings, blessings. Thank you for being here. Yes, Baba mi ti kole, nínú rẹ̀ mi mú mi, mo bí ọmọ lẹ́mọ, mo ṣe iṣẹ́ rẹ̀, ọ̀rá mi nìyẹn, ọ̀rá mi lọ́wọ́, aṣáré ni mo ká, aṣọ́rẹ́ bàbá. Yes, CD, if you don't have it, oh my God, I'm gonna have to go listen to that now. Woo! Yes, keep the joy, people. The joy. Our ancestors, look. And I gotta call on the ancestors from Haiti. Oh, give thanks for Haiti. Those of you who are devotees of Loa, my sister Mambo, Dr. Kiki has mentioned that Simbi and Gamboa are two of the Loa to call on for healing, to call on for the healing. So we invoke them and we give thanks. Gamboa is the orisha of the forest, like Osain. So we know that, of course, all of our forest divinities, the ones that are for healing, we invoke Osain right now. Osain Day! Yes, come on, Osain. We invoke your healing. Also deeply connected with Babalu because the earth, of course, the herbs and everything comes from the earth. So they're all connected, right? We just call on all of our divinities to do everything that they do right now. We call on the road openers, we call on the coolers, we call on the heaters to get us hot, to do the things that we need to do. We call on Obatala for comfort. We call on Oshun for continued connection, like the veins. We don't see the veins, but they run and they connect. So we just call on every divinity to do what our divinities do right now in this moment. And most of all, we call on ourselves. Again, touch that Ori. We pray, we give thanks for everything that has transpired here today as we have been together. And we pray for openness. We pray for calm, for peace, for clarity. We pray for our worry to be like water, to know exactly the direction to go, to know who to call, to know what to say, to know what the next move is to make next. We give thanks and praise for Ori. We know that if we want a home, we must inquire of our Ori. If we want a house, we must inquire of our Ori. If we want blessings of any kind, we must inquire of our Ori. And so Ori, we inquire of you right now. Open, ooh, and be cool. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you so much for being with me. You know, I just love your energy. Tiffany, Janet, Ifa, ashe, ashe, so Aibo, Zoom, yes, ashe, 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 ashe. Colette, yes, Spirit is absolutely speaking through me. Give thanks and thank you for your prayers. All of you, I see your prayers scrolling in. I send them back many, many, many fold. I give thanks and praise. I invite you, as always, every Sunday morning to join me for Orisa Prayer and Meditation. I invite you to join us online, April 17th. Baba John Mason gonna be with us, speaking about his book, in praise of our mothers, talking about the divine feminine and masculine. Pay what you can. And we know that this economic turn has been a little tough for some people, so you can pay what you can. If you can afford the ticket, great. Not as little as $1 donation, and you will get access. Give so much and pray for you. I'm so blessed. If you'd like to connect with me personally, I am still available for reading appointments, and I will put those links and things in the comments. So blessings to each and every one of you, and I look forward to being with you again and again and again and again. And to close with the words of the hood poet Kendrick, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. Double.